Good evening, everyone. Yalancy Peterson here. Today is Thursday, June 20th, 2019. It is now 7:57 in the evening. I believe that the worst case scenario for Uber and Lyft is that the drivers will be required in the state of California to have their own individual TCP numbers for their cars. The fact that Uber is sending an email stating that we have to have a business permit, I don't think that's good enough. And I think the reason why is because it's stated in the ABC test that's listed. Part A, it states here, is the worker free from the control and direction under the contract and in fact. How am I free from the control and direction of Uber or Lyft if I'm using their TCP number? I'm under their control when that happens. So if I have my own TCP number, that eliminates that step and I pass part A of the test, okay? The second part is this: is the worker customarily engaged in an independently established trade or business? In order to have a TCP permit, you must have an LLC or a corporation. And the reason why you have to have it isn't from the California Public Utilities Commission. It's in order to get commercial insurance. Every insurance carrier I spoke to, when you were looking for commercial insurance, none of them would speak to me unless I had a corporation or an LLC. If I told them I was a rideshare driver, they didn't want to speak to me. They didn't return phone calls, any of that. If I told them I was a sole proprietor, okay, we can't do business with you. But the minute I told them the name of my corporation, then all of a sudden I started getting insurance quotes. Having a business permit, that's a great idea, and you should have one. But when it comes to passing the ABC test, it simply will not be good enough. And I think what's going to happen is if Assembly Bill 5 becomes the law in the state of California, Uber will basically be able to say, hey, unless you have a TCP and all of the various rules necessary, you're no longer allowed on our platform. And that means anything below Uber Black, you can forget about it. You're not going to be on board. Now, if you want to get your Ford Fusion and put a TCP on it and pay the commercial insurance, and then you can do that, and then you'll be allowed to get back on board. But then the other issue comes down to dealing with the fares, because again, that's in violation of Part A as well too, specifically the Uber pool rides and the Lyft shared rides. Think about it. When you become an Uber X driver, you're automatically thrown into Uber pool rides. Now, I know a number of you do not like the pool rides. I was in that category too. I don't like the pool rides because they simply don't pay enough, and it's too frustrating to deal with the logistics necessary to pick up the second, third, and fourth person with the pool trips. Well, if Uber and Lyft want to comply with Part A, is the worker free from control and direction under the contract and in fact, the pool rides, they all have to go away. You know, because if Uber and Lyft want to keep everything the way it is, but then say, okay, all you need is a business permit, but yet still maintain Uber pool, Lyft shared, and still, and then I'm still required to work under their TCP. I'm still required to use their commercial insurance policy during parts 1, 2, and 3 when I'm driving. I'm in violation of Part A and in violation of Part C. And then what happens is this. It says, does the worker perform work outside the usual course of the hiring entity? Well, at that point, Uber and Lyft, they're not transportation companies or logistics companies like they try to say they are. They're taxi companies at that point. And really, to make all this easy, they should just simply say, hey, you have to follow all the rules of a taxi company. But then we're still employees anyway. So, hey, tell me what you think about this video. But I think telling us we need a permit, It doesn't pass the real business test. It really doesn't. To make it work, you have to have a business address, a business phone number, business email address, a corporation or LLC, employer identification number, commercial vehicle insurance, a commercial vehicle, the appropriate vehicle that people will be willing to pay for to be independent. You got to have your own business checking account. And of course, you got to have airport permits, which means you got to have the transponder. Oh, it's a lot of fun. But that's what it takes to be an independent contractor, a real independent contractor. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Take care, everyone.